Should I put that in the
No, don't do that, because that made like... I thought you meant in the episode. I was like, no, because it was like awkward silence afterward.
Yeah, no,
in the description, we're dropping a deuce.
Yeah.
Learn about who was on the other line and when Mike takes a deuce.
On this episode of the MacGuffin Guild, we're gonna answer the phone when a stranger calls. This 1979 horror thriller classic stars Carol Kane, Charles Durning, Tony Beckley, Colleen Dewhurst, Ron O'Neill, and Michael Champion, directed by Fred Walton. We're gonna talk about Carol Kane's least funny movie, the real-life story of Tony Beckley, dynamic sound, Mike's teeth fears, and the poor man's Brian Dennehy. We'll discuss Ron O'Neill's mustache, the power of Star 69, the Anne of Green Gables universal female connection, and Pat's terrifying legend of the Schwan Man. We'll talk about Mike's lawn dart incident and how he makes friends, as well as random movie reviews with Justin. We'll also introduce the When a Stranger Calls subtitle drinking game. I'm Pat Dougherty, and as always, I'll be joined by my fellow MacGuffins, Justin Jones and Mike Antonio. Our theme song was written and performed by Jordan Vincent. Now answer that phone, and for the love of all things holy, check on the children when a stranger calls.
I raised you better than this.
Welcome to another episode of the MacGuffin Guild. As always, I am here with my fellow MacGuffin Guild members, Mr. Justin Jones. Justin, how are you?
I'm great and not surprised by that question whatsoever.
Well, that's good. You've finally gotten used to it.
He's catching on.
All right. Yeah, I'm very proud of you.
Yeah, making progress.
He's wise to your greetings, Pat.
Yes. All right. Also here with, as always, Mr. Mike Antonio. How's it going, Mike?
Hey, how you doing, Pat?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for asking.
Good to hear.
All right. So, a couple things before we get going here. I just wanted to give our social media accounts a little shout out here. So be sure, first and foremost, we are on Instagram, which is at the MacGuffin Guild with some underscores in there, at the _MacGuffin _Guild. We are on Twitter at MacGuffin Guild, and we are on Facebook. You can just search us, the MacGuffin Guild. We're also on Discord, which, Justin, that's your animal. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's actually the only thing I followed. As you were saying, I don't think I even follow our Facebook group. Yeah.
So any of those, follow us, contact us, communicate with us. We want to hear from you. With that said, the film we did today, or are doing today, is When a Stranger Calls, 1979.
Yeah, not to be confused with the 2006, I believe, remake.
Yeah, not the remake.
Sounds about right. I think it was 2006.
I think it's 2006.
1979, and this is directed by Fred Walton, written by Walton and Steve Feck. I'm guessing that's how he would pronounce his name, Feke. They had also, and we can talk about this a little bit.
Out of curiosity, how else would you pronounce Feck?
Well, maybe Fecky?
Fecky?
Because I was thinking the same thing, but then I was like, how do you spell it?
Feke. I'm guessing it's Steve Feck.
Okay.
I'd say Feck.
So stars Carol Kane. Oh, that's the point I was making. Steve Walton and Fred Walton and Steve Feck also produced and made the short that ultimately became this. It was called The Sitter. The Sitter. And that you can find on YouTube. Mm-hmm. So search that out, and that's pretty much, there's even a lot of the dialogue that is just verbatim.
It's basically the opening scene of When a Stranger Calls.
Yeah. This film, on Rotten Tomatoes, on the tomato meter, a 41%.
Wow.
Which I felt was exceptionally low.
Me too.
For this one.
Yeah, that's surprising.
Audience score, what do you think? Higher or lower than that?
I think it's higher.
By how much?
Let's say 60% range.
Justin?
I'll go 50.
Yeah, very close. 49.
Damn, wow.
Still surprisingly low. I'm not sure why.
I know the people.
And that's based on 32,000 user ratings.
Well, hell.
I think I know what the problem is. I didn't really have this problem when I was watching it, but as I started watching other people's reviews and stuff, folks seem to, with the 3-act structure here, you have the first part is the babysitter, which everyone knows. Going into this, I've never seen this before. This is one that kind of slipped past me for years. I just always knew like the whole, phone call, why aren't you checking the children type thing. And I was really shocked to get to the second and third act.
Yes.
And it was like totally different. Like, because I was like, oh, wow, this is going to be a really quick movie because we're almost at the point, like, you know, where at the part everyone knows.
reveal.
The reveal, yeah.
Yes.
And then when there was a second and third act, and I think based on what I've seen, a lot of people, their comments were that they didn't really particularly care for the second act. They were like, it just went nowhere. And then the third act, you know, kind of brings you back to the first act, and it's not as good. And I think that's, I think the first act's really strong, and the second act loses a lot of people. And I think that's why it's such
I
a
can
low
totally
rating. Yeah.
get that, because I went into this movie thinking, well, first of all, I thought I saw it before. Turns out that's not true. I've never seen it. Maybe I saw the remake, and I kind of blended it with the first segment of this movie, which everyone is familiar with because it's the urban legend.
Yeah.
That's literally what it is.
Well, plus a lot of this is so iconic.
Yeah.
How many people have seen Carol Kane answering that phone?
Right.
Like,
And you think that's the whole movie, but
exactly.
it's not.
Yeah, the classic folk legend, the babysitter and the man upstairs.
Yeah. So I thought that was going to be the whole movie, which gave me that similarity to Ty West's House of the Devil.
Okay, yeah. I can see
Where
that.
it's like the babysitter alone in the house. I thought the whole movie was that setup, and it's not. It after what, 10, 15 minutes?
Yeah.
It switches gears. So I was very surprised by that. It did catch me off guard, and I can see why people have a problem with that. But I think they're being a little harsh.
Yeah. I'm not saying they're not justified feeling that way, because
No, they're not.
It's true. I mean, it's true, especially when you're expecting one thing. But I personally like the second act. It is a little slow.
It is.
But I like, which we'll get into, but I do definitely like they start getting into the killer's
Yes.
mindset and everything in the second act, which, you know, we'll touch on more.
Yeah,
later,
I want to
but,
talk about that more.
Yeah, which I thought was cool. And I thought that was a real discussion piece. So...
All right, so to give a range of reviews, I'll start with some negatives, since that seems to be...
Prevalent?
Yes, certainly so.
For some reason.
Okay, we have Tim Brayton from Antagony and Ecstasy. 2 movies, one sandwiched inside the other, and 2 movies have completely different goals, tones, and arguably even genres. Keith Breeze from filmcritic.com. I dare you to try sitting through the middle 70 minutes.
Yeah, see, there it is. It's just, people hate that middle part.
Nick Schreger from Lessons of Darkness. Aggravatingly devoid of suspense. Which I don't think... I didn't feel that at all.
I didn't
I think
either,
there's definitely
yeah.
suspense.
Throughout. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. I agree. All right.
Even during the slower middle section, there's still like
Yeah.
you're kind of left wondering what's going to happen. Like, where's this going?
I would really like to talk to someone and have a conversation with them that thinks that it's not, because that was one thing I was thinking when I was watching. I was like, oh, just a really good sense of tension in
I agree.
various parts here. But, you know, to each their own.
So let's give some positives. Anton Bittel from Little White Lies. To appreciate just how different it is from the other entries in this then still subgenre, the slasher, we need to move on from its opening to its more critically neglected middle section. So this guy appreciated the middle section. We got Larry Vitascio from Philadelphia Gay News. With an effectively chilling beginning, a frightening edge-of-your-seat finish, and superb characterizations in between, Stranger is guaranteed to make your skin crawl.
Okay. So I guess it's just a preference thing.
Yeah, it's funny, like how you could take like 10 people all looking at the same photograph and they'll see 10 different things sometimes.
Here's another one. Stacy Lane Wilson from horror.com. The ultimately slow-moving film is bookended by some truly classic horror movie moments.
Yeah, and that is very true.
Very
That's
true.
true. Yeah.
Iconic moments.
Absolutely.
So this was my selection. And full disclosure, I have never seen this movie either. I always wanted to see it. This has been on my list for a long time.
Yeah.
So finally, I thought the timing was right. And I'm very glad that I watched it.
Me too.
Yeah.
I think that also fits into our theme of discovery and learning new things
for
that
sure.
we were talking about earlier.
Well,
Yeah.
this is just it. I knew, not because I had ever seen it, but I had seen it in pop culture so often that I felt like I had seen that beginning portion.
Same.
So it was really interesting to see where they were going to go with it. Once that 20 minutes in, that story ended. You know, I was very intrigued to see where it took us. And I got to be honest, I wasn't disappointed by where it took us either.
No, I wasn't either.
Like, I felt the character they built, the Kurt Duncan character, I thought was eerie AF. Like, I thought they did a really good job of building this eerie character. And just, again, knowing, I mean, that whole intro sets it up so perfectly. Of course he becomes so eerie because that beginning is horrific, which, let's talk about the beginning before we jump into the second act.
Let's do it.
So the beginning.
The iconic beginning.
The iconic beginning. Now, I'm sure everybody listening has either one, seen it, or two, much like myself, knows enough about it.
Or
to
at least
know
knows
kind of
like the
what
original urban legend.
Yeah, the urban legend or the concept, or maybe you've seen the short film. But the way his voice sounds on that phone when he says, "Have you checked the children?" It's so freaking eerie.
Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, if that doesn't give you the chills, then you're probably not living, because that is it's extremely unnerving.
It is.
To think about a young woman being alone in a situation like that with something so horrific upstairs. And I mean, they didn't pull any punches with that. The scene towards the end of that first act, where once all the shit hits the fan and the authorities finally get there, I never once in 1,000 years dreamt that we would see two cops walk by with small body bags.
Yeah.
That was freaking crazy.
Like, not even like Sarah's like, shouldn't he be on stretchers?
I
Just
know.
Like they have him like over their shoulder, like fireman.
Like,
guy, and he's
they
like,
already
why-
finished the investigation and everything. And
Weren't they like really young? Like,
yeah.
It was like 4 and 3 or something.
Yeah, it was
like
just
that. Yeah.
awful.
And then
yeah, they just and the parents are sitting right there. They just fling the body bags over the shoulder, just carry them down the steps.
And the icing on the cake was they were trying to figure out how, like, what the murder weapon was, and he used his bare hands.
Yeah,
he just ripped them apart with his bare hands.
I don't remember if they actually did this in the movie itself, but I remember watching the original short today before we started this, and I thought it was funny. Like, it has like the parents and stuff like in the background, like all upset and stuff, you know, all that, and then it has the cop explain to the other cop, like right there in front of him, like, oh yeah, he went in there and ripped him apart with his bare hands.
I know.
Like, oh yeah, it was a mess.
Yeah, the mom's sitting like 6 feet away.
Yeah.
God, yeah. So there were some
I
things
never
there
seen
that.
anything like
Yeah,
that,
and they when they found him, he was still up in the room,
Yeah.
covered in blood.
Yeah. But this is something I thought really interesting that I just learned over the little bit of research I've done here since watching the film, where the actor that played Kurt Duncan, the actor is Tony Beckley.
I just want to say that Carol Kane is not very funny in this movie.
Yes, this is probably the least funny movie she's ever been in.
It might be the only non-funny role she's ever done. I don't know.
I'd be curious. I should have looked that up because I love Scrooge.
Yeah,
we watch that
she
every
is
Christmas.
usually like
Yeah.
ridiculously silly.
Transylvania 65000. Drawing a blank now, but she's been
She's
in,
in
tons
a lot of
stuff.
stuff.
she's been in
Yeah.
a ton. All right, so
And she always uses like that
Yeah.
more high pitched, like silly voice.
So I thought this was really interesting. So Tony Beckley, who played Kurt Duncan, the madman, was terminally ill throughout the production.
Oh wow!
Because of this, he did not fit the description of the killer that Fred Walton refused to recast him as they were good friends. He later passed away just after the principal photography was shot.
Jesus.
Director Fred Walton dedicated the film's 93 sequel, When a Stranger Calls Back, to the memory of Beckley. Now,
That's right. When a stranger calls back. That's right.
it is assumed that apparently the word on the street is that he died of brain cancer. However, there are allegedly, and I'm not putting this on the record in any way whatsoever, but there are allegations that he actually had HIV. But it was so unknown at the time that, he
Wow, I
may
didn't know
not
that.
even.
That's crazy. I didn't
It
hear
can't
that.
be confirmed.
It cannot be confirmed, but there's rumblings,
Speculation.
the speculation that is the case. But regardless, he was terminally ill during filming and died shortly thereafter.
Yeah.
And that led to the debate of, would a man who's kind of that frail be able to rip children apart with his bare hands?
Yeah.
I actually really like. I know a lot of people are that was a big point that people talked about, that it's like, oh, he's too frail looking and all that. I kind of like that though, because I feel like when you get that psychotic blood rage,
yes,
like you
it shows how out of control he would be in that state.
Yeah, because I think about like the power of your jaw. Like if I put my finger in your mouth, you probably wouldn't bite my.
Why don't you do it? Just do it.
Yeah, I know. So we're
try to.
We're entering new ground here on the show right now, but like. If I were to do that, you probably wouldn't bite my finger off just because you have like a conscience.
I might.
Like, you don't want to do it. But if like under duress,
oh yes, no, I could totally see
that. You have the power to bite someone's fingers immediately off
no
like
doubt.
that. You know what I mean?
That's true.
Yeah.
And like the body is capable of.
Mike is a bulldog.
I am.
Yes.
I don't know though. I'm weird about my teeth. Like I always feel like
I'm weird about my fingers. I think the situation will never.
Like
play
I always
out.
feel like when I bite into something like tough,
Something with bones.
Yeah, something with bones that like I'm gonna yank my own teeth out. Like I feel like I don't know. I feel like my bones are not strong enough to.
I mean, have you seen someone about that? I mean,
I don't think
it's more of a mental.
It's
thing.
a mental thing. Yeah, I just.
So it's not like your teeth feel wobbly.
No.
Weak.
Like I always feel like, for instance, if I'm biting into an apple, I just in my subconscious, I'm like, what if my teeth get ripped out into this apple?
Oh my god! So you can't just enjoy the apple?
No, I won't eat an apple.
What a way to live.
It bothers me. Like I always have that fear of like my teeth getting ripped out. I have nightmares about.
I'm glad you brought that
dreams.
up. I'm glad you brought that up because I wanted to touch on mental illness and
well, strap in, buddy.
Yeah, strap in. All right. So the character of the disturbed killer Kurt Duncan was based on a college acquaintance of the director Fred Walton.
Oh wow.
Who somehow could just enter a room and automatically make others in the room uncomfortable, which I think, Mike does that to us frequently.
Yeah.
What's up, guys?
I'm used to it now.
Yeah.
But
So yet Walton felt enough sympathy for this person that the character of Duncan is treated with a fair amount of sensitivity.
Yeah.
So
I'd be curious. I know there's people that in all of our lives, like you've come across people where you have felt this uncomfortable feeling around someone who's just a normal person in society roaming around, but you just get that weird
vibe.
That vibe off them.
Yeah.
And it's just strange when you think about how many times you get that vibe and how many how many people out there. It just makes you feel a little unsafe. Like
Oh sure.
Really, like I know we like to live in our own little worlds where we think like everything's okay and stuff, but it really is at any moment. You could. I think I told a story.
I mean, any moment you could lose a finger.
Yeah, put it in the wrong mouth. I told a story last time about when we were hanging out with that guy, partying with that guy, and here he turned out to be, a wanted criminal.
Jesus. Yeah.
So the film, as I said, was originally shot as a short, The Sitter, which is essentially, again, almost verbatim the first 20 minutes. However, after the huge success of Halloween in '78, Walton saw the potential of expanding the short into a full-length feature, which, to be honest, if you take that into account, which that first 20 minutes is iconic, it's perfect. It's a great, it's horrific, it's terrifying, it gives you the chills, it does everything it's supposed to do. But then he had to take that and find a way to make it into a feature length, which I still think he did a good job.
Yeah.
Now, it never quite tops that intro.
Yeah.
But
maybe he should have expanded the intro part a little bit and then shortened
but
the
maybe
middle
I think
section?
it would have hurt. I think it would have hurt it.
I think it could have gone a little longer.
Well, the thing
What are you
is,
going to get an extra 3 minutes out of it though?
Yeah,
Not really enough to.
It's just a girl on the phone. Like, how many times you're gonna call back and be like, "This is me calling for the 15th time."
Exactly.
Like,
seriously though, just come upstairs, please.
just like
For the love of God, my knees hurt being in this closet.
dude, I got shit to do in the morning. I'm like begging you now, just come upstairs.
I'm falling asleep here.
Yeah, like I haven't heard from you in a while. Yeah, because I took a nap.
Yes, I haven't heard from you in a while. God. Oh shit. So obviously, as we've said, this has influenced pop culture quite a bit.
Oh, hell yeah.
There were two main things. I'm sure you guys are going to know automatically one of them.
Will I?
Two main things that this directly influenced in pop culture since then.
Okay.
Would you like to take any guesses?
Nope.
Scream?
Scream.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
Scream
Yeah.
was
Sure.
clearly
Sure.
influenced by this. The other was I think it was Bud Light commercial.
Oh?
Doobie doobie doo. Remember that?
I remember Doobie.
Where it's like, and then a guy's sitting there with his girl on the couch and they're watching a game or something on TV and the phone rings and all they hear is doobie doobie doo, and he's like, huh? And then he gets another call and it says the call's coming from inside the house, and then the camera goes up the stairs and there's a penguin up there with a beer and it says doobie doobie doo.
I kind of do remember that. Yeah.
So that was a clear, what's the word?
Homage?
Homage.
Yeah.
Or homage, as some people say.
Homage. A clear homage.
I mean, it wasn't as big a deal as Spuds MacKenzie, but I do kind of remember that.
Spuds MacKenzie,
yeah.
man.
Yeah.
My dad's buddy used to call me Spuds.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, as a sarcastic thing because I wasn't a party animal at all.
Okay.
As a kid, I'm not talking like as a kid, I would just sit there playing like a little, what are those little handheld video game things they used to have
Like
that were
the Tiger.
Yeah, the
ones,
Tiger
yeah.
ones, and he'd be like, "Oh, there's Spuds, he's a party animal."
Yeah. So to wrap this up, Tony Beckley, it was his final film before his death, April 19th, 1980, at the age of 50. So good old-fashioned guild toast to the memory of Tony Beckley. So cheers.
Yeah.
Cheers, Tony.
Yeah.
And right here's a good point to talk about
What, Superfly?
Ron O'Neal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I know him most recognizable to me from Red Dawn.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I was like surprised when I looked it up. I was like, oh, that's right. Yeah.
He's the what are they what country is that? Like,
It was it Cuba or something?
I think it might be Cuban.
Yeah, 'cause it was like
it's Cuba and Russia.
Yeah, it was all communist.
Yeah.
Countries at the time.
Yep.
I'm just reading something else here that I think is interesting. Again, I got to swing back around to Tony Beckley because I just came across this. Tony Beckley, who played the psychotic British killer Kurt Duncan, was said to be high-strung and sensitive during shooting. He had become fascinated with Carol Kane and was fixated on her talent to the point that he wound up having a nervous breakdown on set. He felt so nervous and inadequate. Director Fred Walton was unable to fix the situation, but Colleen Dewhurst was. Beckley complained to her that Kane was so talented. Dewhurst replied, "Yeah, but we're better." And that fixed it for Beckley, and he was no longer intimidated. I bet he was going through a million and one things going on in his head at that time.
Of course.
Yeah, I think too when you deal with any kind of artist, when you play with bands and stuff like that, and it's like you're already kind of like you might be feeling a certain way that day, or you're just not feeling sure of yourself, and then you go after some other band that's just on fire, and you're just like, it doesn't take anything away from your performance, but it's like,
well, but it takes away from your mental,
your mental state, just like
positivity,
or like you're
and
recording
confidence.
a podcast, and you hear another podcast, and you're like,
that's really fucking good.
Yeah.
God, we suck.
Yeah, for real. Also,
I thought he was great.
Also, want to point out, going back to Ron.
Yeah, he was great.
Going back to Ron O'Neal real quick. There's also a Wu-Tang Clan song called Ron O'Neal.
Oh, really?
Yes, sir.
Nice.
Okay.
Well, that's a good
little pause there.
Yeah.
Potty break, maybe. You're really stuck on Tony Beckley.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm just reading.
It's fascinating. It is.
Well, something about I was inspired to watch The Italian Job, the original 1969 version.
Never saw that.
Nice.
Because I saw that he was in it, and it's one I've been wanting to watch for a while. I've never seen it, and I was curious because I liked his performance in this. I wanted to see how he was in that, which was okay. He was okay in it, but he wasn't like a main. He wasn't like a main character. He kind of was a main character, but it's a heist movie, so there's a lot of moving parts, and it's pretty much following Michael Caine's character.
I've seen the remake. It's like an ensemble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I didn't really it was a very good comparison, but I liked both movies, so I mean that's something that people will be very excited to hear.
Well, thank you for that.
Yeah, I don't know. I was hoping to spin it. There's something exciting,
glowing endorsement of the original
of a movie
Italian
we're not
Job.
even talking about today.
Yeah, I liked it.
Thank you. And that's movie reviews with Justin. So until next week.
Yeah, it was okay. I mean, I like Michael Caine.
You'll never know what movie he's going to review until we're in it.
It's always a spur of the moment review.
So I will say this, the dynamic sound in this movie was fascinating.
Yeah.
Because it was also infuriating.
Yes.
When you're trying to watch a movie and you have a child sleeping in the other room and you can't hear shit, so you crank it up to 50.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
And then a jump scare happens and it's like it blows your speakers out.
Yeah.
And to play off of that, Pat, that became such a problem for me that I put subtitles on because
I had to do the same thing. Yeah, I did the same thing.
Did you guys notice one funny thing about the subtitles that constantly happened? It wasn't a sound, but it was it was a sound. It was a sound, not dialogue, that kept happening in
Is it
parentheses.
pensive music?
Well, that was
Yeah,
another
I kept
one.
seeing it. I was like, this movie's filled with pensive music.
You know what
I
else?
would never know if I didn't have the subtitles on.
You know what else it was filled with?
What was that?
Door latches.
Oh, interesting.
Every time somebody closed the door, it'd be like door latches.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it happened a lot. I couldn't even count how many times that happened. I was like, that's weird.
So that'd be a good drinking game.
You never know how many times.
Hey, yeah. Anybody out there, if you want to try something fun, watch this movie, put the subtitles on, and drink to door latches in the
Or
subtitles.
pensive music.
Or pensive music.
And
And keep
No.
track.
No, don't do both.
Cut this out right now because it's going to be a legal liability.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, keep track. Let us know. I would love to hear the
we would
update.
like to keep our fans, not inadvertently cause their deaths.
Yeah.
So if there's anything I gained in this movie, any kind of enlightenment, it is the fact that I finally got to see firsthand the worst bartender in the history of bartending.
Oh, hell. Yeah, right?
What the hell is he doing or not doing?
I don't know,
He's
man.
a pushover.
He is a pushover. And who wears a turtleneck to work like that? I mean, he's got to be hot as shit.
Well,
Especially when you're serving to people. And I like that the dude from Total Recall, Michael Champion, is that his name? The guy playing pool that was like beating him up.
Oh,
Total Recall?
Yeah,
is that the dude with the face thing?
No, he was he wore glasses. He was Richter's right-hand man.
That's him?
That's him.
Oh, no shit.
I noticed him because I just watched Total Recall
Holy
like a month
shit.
ago. And
Wow,
again,
what was his name?
His character is
It was Michael Champion? Is that what it
I
is?
think it's Bill.
Holy
Yeah.
shit. That is him. Are you kidding me?
I did not even pick up
Yeah,
on that.
because when I was watching Total Recall, I was like, this dude's crazy. I know I've seen him in something else before, and I started
Wow.
looking him up, and I was like, I think there was a few things, but I was like, I like this guy, and then
Dude, I had no clue.
when I saw him in here, I was like, holy shit, there he is.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. Good catch.
I will say this about the portrayal of was his Duncan? What's his first name?
Yeah, Kurt Duncan.
Kurt Duncan. The character, his portrayal in that second act where after he escapes from the mental hospital, which is, where he ended up after murdering the two children. And he was there for 7 years, I think.
Yeah,
7 years later, he gets out. He escapes, I'm sorry. He doesn't get out. And that whole segment of him kind of just like going to the bar and,
Oh, just picking up on that one woman, honing in on her.
yeah, trying to hit on her, and then the guy you're talking about from Total Recall, he like beats the crap out of him and all this like that kind of reminded me of Dee Snider's Strangeland. Do you remember that?
You know what? I used to own that, and I don't remember anything about it.
Okay, well,
I remember he was like Captain Howdy. or
Captain
something.
Howdy.
Yeah.
He's like he gets into chat rooms and he entices these
yeah.
people to meet up with him, and he like tortures them. He like does like piercings and stuff to them, and a lot of them die. But he's got like they're all like hanging in his little chamber.
Do you have that on Blu-ray?
I don't believe it's on Blu-ray. I have it on DVD though. I do have it on DVD.
He doesn't have it on Blu-ray only because it's not on Blu-ray.
Yeah, I don't think it is. There's also he has an alternate cut of that's like very rare, hard to get. But anyway, that's the first segment of that film, and then he gets arrested and he gets rehabilitated and gets out of prison and is trying to become a normal like member of society again. but people keep fucking with him because they know who he is.
Oh yeah.
And you know they do like a mob justice thing where they hang him and he doesn't die, and then he goes right back into being who he was.
I don't remember any of this.
Yeah,
I don't know how I don't remember any of this.
But that's kind of. I mean, the lady at the mental hospital did say he's going to deteriorate because he's not on the medications, he's not getting the treatment, the counseling, and all that anymore.
Look at this bartender. We have the film on in the background here. This bartender with the yellow turtleneck. He's the shittiest. A fight's breaking out, and he doesn't even fucking move.
He tried to call the cops, but then the
Michael
guy,
Champion,
the guy from Total Recall, like stops him. He's like, "No, I'm gonna beat this guy up."
Well, to be fair, like. I mean, especially here where we live, there's a lot of like little corner dive bars and everywhere. There's like no more than 4 people in this bar at any given time.
I feel bad for the old couple just looking to have a good Friday night out.
It's the bartender, the guy playing pool, the lady, Kurt Duncan, I almost said Kurt Dudley, and this old couple just sitting there at a table having a couple of drinks.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all that's in this bar.
It's their big Friday night.
They celebrate their anniversary because that place used to be the place to go 50 years ago. They go there every year. Oh, that's me.
Yeah,
really
so I
sad.
just can't believe that, a fight's breaking out and the bartender was just like, I'm not going to do anything. You're on your own. Take him, Michael. So the music, I love the music in this movie.
Yeah,
the score I thought was great, especially the scene later on where I forget the character's name, but the Tony Beckley character, not Charles Durning character, I'm sorry, the detective. AKA Brian Dennehy.
Oh,
Yeah.
I do. Yeah, there is a bit of
There's a little
resemblance.
bit.
Yeah.
I see
Poor
it.
man's Dennehy. Yeah, when he's following the woman, when they're trying to like lure in Kurt,
Yeah.
Right.
that music is awesome during that scene. Like I was like, man, this is great. But then again, I did have the volume on 50, so
Yes.
may have made a difference.
What the neighbors think.
I'll have to ask him tomorrow.
Yeah, Charles Durning, a.k.a. Brian Dennehy, a.k.a. Detective Captain Ahab.
AKA Brian Cox. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No, he reminded me of, like,
So, yeah,
he was kind of the Captain Ahab of the story. Like,
Yeah.
he was just
Yeah.
after this
Following
guy.
quite well, yeah.
216 credits for
Charles Durning.
Charles Durning.
He's
yes.
awesome, dude. I was
Yeah.
reading something. He didn't even start like getting in front of the camera till he's 40 or something.
Really?
That's like,
Yeah.
that's very much like,
Alan Rickman.
Alan Rickman, thank you. I was gonna say from Die Hard, but yeah, you got me.
So yeah, he was in Dog Day Afternoon, Oh Brother Where Art Thou,
Yeah.
Tootsie, the Muppet Movie.
He's been in tons of
Oh,
stuff.
shit.
Yeah.
I knew the name and I vaguely recognized him as Brian Dennehy, but
Oh, he was in Good Dick. Have you seen that one, Mike?
yeah, every
Yeah, but on
day.
Blu-ray.
That's how I live.
Oh, he was in Dick Tracy.
Good Dick Tracy.
Yeah, he was in Dick Tracy. He's in a lot of Dick movies. I did, real quick, I wanted to go back. So, Charles Durning's done a ton, but I wanted to go back to Carol Kane because she ain't no slouch either.
Oh, hell no.
I don't think we talked enough about her history in film. She's got 162 credits on IMDb.
Okay.
Princess Bride,
Yeah.
Addams Family Values.
yeah.
She was the granny in the sequel.
Oh, okay. I've only seen bits of the second one. I've never seen the whole thing.
Annie Hall, The Pacifier with Vin Diesel.
Oh my God, really?
You know, I've never seen a single Woody Allen movie in my entire
Oh,
life.
really?
Neither
Not
have
a
I.
single one.
Neither have
I don't
I.
know how that's escaped me.
I know.
Like, never
I've
seen
said that to
one.
people before, and they're like, "What?"
Yeah, and we used to. I remember as a kid, we owned Annie Hall on VHS. Like, and like it was one of those movies that because we moved around a lot and like you'd lose shit and stuff. It'd be one of those movies I'd always like to open a bin and try and find something in there. It's like, here's some
Nope, just Annie Hall.
dishes and stuff. Yeah, and it's like Annie Hall would just be sitting in there with no case or anything, and I still never watched it.
Huh.
Yeah, Transylvania 65000,
That's right.
which we talked about. Princess Bride, Scrooge, the Ghost of Christmas Present, Tiny Toon Adventures.
Huh.
She did a voice.
That's not surprising. She's got like that very unique voice.
Yeah. And she's done a bunch of TV, Seinfeld, Empty Nest,
I saw her in something
Chicago Hope.
fairly recently where she was like an older lady.
I didn't know she
and
was
it
still
made me
doing
feel
stuff.
like really old.
Let's see. Let's go towards the more recent stuff. Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt,
Nah.
Hunters, Boys Don't Wear Dresses.
Hunters, isn't it?
Big Mouth, Bubble Guppies.
Isn't that Al Pacino?
Oh, she did a voice in Bubble
show,
Guppies. She's the sea witch.
I don't know what that is. Is that like a little kid's thing?
Yeah, it's a kid show. Anyway, yeah, she's done a ton. But it was so fun to watch her. I mean, how old was she when she made this? So she was born in
young.
52, and this was in
79.
79. So what is she, 27?
No, roughly.
27 when she made
Maybe
this.
a tad younger when they filmed.
Yeah, that's awesome. Anyway.
Ron O'Neal, man. He mesmerizes me. He's just got like such a unique look.
Yeah.
And a great mustache.
He has a great mustache.
There's a guy that's been shopping at my work for many, many years, and he reminds me of him. He's got the mustache and like the complexion. He very much looks like him. Every time I see him, I'm like, that's Ron O'Neal.
Yeah.
Did you ever mention that to him?
No. I haven't seen him in a while, actually, but I used to see him all the time.
You know who? You were talking about Charles Durning looking like what's his name? You know who
Brian
else
Dennehy.
Yeah. You know who else he reminds me of? Is Joe Don Baker.
Joe Don Baker. Yeah.
He reminds me, like, they seem like they're all cut from the same cloth.
Yeah.
So
That's funny.
two things I wanted to touch on real quick. One, my wife Amanda wanted me to point out on the show that she has the same boots that the Jill character was wearing while she was babysitting. Which
cool.
she took her shoes off for a while, but eventually after like the third or fourth phone call, she put her shoes back on. It's a scene where she took a shot and then she's like sitting there. I forget what she has. I don't know if it's a fireplace poker or whatever. She's got something.
Yeah.
And the boots she was wearing, Amanda has. But anyway, the other thing I wanted to mention.
Go ahead.
Oh, no.
I was going to say something. When you said the fireplace poker thing, it reminded me of a big point that when Sarah and I were watching it, she pointed out Sarah gets like really aggravated when she watches movies where women aren't doing things that they should be doing to protect themselves. Because she's lived in New York and you know, big cities and stuff, and she's like, there's a certain way you have to be to not make yourself a target. You know, like you have to walk big, you have to, you know, all this other stuff. And she's like, it drives her nuts in all these movies where girls just like put themselves in a position where like you make yourself look like prey.
So did she feel that Jill was failing the test?
No, quite the opposite. She like right from the beginning, she's like, this movie has a lot of like, even like I can't remember the other character's name right there, but she was just saying like it's one of those movies where it seems like they're constantly doing the right thing. Except for the beginning when
Tracy?
When she's walking down the street and she's kind of like has her head on a swivel looking everywhere, you kind of look like you're looking for trouble, you know. But everything else, like she's like, I'm just gonna grab this fire poker, and she was just like, you know,
Yeah.
She just
I
seemed like
did
she
think
had
it
her
was
head
funny.
above her.
She took a shot.
Yeah.
You
Like
know?
I got to calm the nerves a little bit. Yeah.
Dude, that would freak the F out of me. Like every time I think about that opening 20 minutes, how freaking terrifying is that? Just insanely terrifying.
It's crazy too, because like you're protecting yourself by locking the doors and you're locking everything down to protect yourself, but what you're really doing is trapping yourself in there.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I said that like it's that's a big surprise, but I was like, yeah, no shit, that's the whole point.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah.
This actress, what is her name?
Her name is Colleen Dewhurst.
Yes, and her character's name
She played
Tracy. Okay,
yep. And that's who Kurt started going after during the second act.
Right, he gets like
encountered
fixated on her
at the bar, and so which I had a second question. My second question is, when Kurt encounters Tracy at the bar and he approaches her and he tries to buy her a drink and things start getting ugly, and eventually he just he stops trying to play the game. And he just puts it all out there and he says, I want to be your friend.
Yeah.
And on my notes here I have, is that how Mike makes friends? So can you open up a little bit about that? Is that your
there's nothing else to say, but yeah.
So you just go into random bars and just approach people and scream in their faces.
Don't you guys do that? Isn't that what you're supposed to do?
Yes, Mike.
Don't people, right? Like people,
I mean, to be fair, there was a build-up. Like, he did offer to buy her a drink and then say some
Well,
weird
I don't
shit
do
to
all
her.
that. I skip all that. I just like the direct approach. Don't people enjoy that? They want you to
They want to know where you stand.
They want to know. They want you to just spit it the fuck
They
out.
just want you to take charge.
Yeah.
Grab their beers.
Justin's falling over.
Yeah. All right.
This actress, what's her name again? Carol.
Colleen. I'm sorry, Colleen Dewhurst. Did I say Carol? It was Colleen
Maybe.
Dewhurst.
I'm not really sure what she was in, but
I will tell you.
Oh, go ahead.
Angel noticed it when we were watching
That's
it.
funny because Sarah noticed when we were watching it where she saw
Anne of Green Gables.
That's exact same
what
thing
she
she
knew her
said,
from.
yeah.
That's what, Amanda said.
God, that must be a girl. Jesus Christ.
We don't know shit.
The first thing she said, Amanda said, she's from Anne of Green Gables.
All three of our significant others
Yeah.
knew that instantly. Is that? I guess it must be a big like girl thing.
Yeah.
I gurgled when I said that. I was like,
Yeah.
girl.
I was like, yeah, that sounds familiar.
What's he, Merman from He-Man?
Yeah, yeah.
That's a girl thing.
Yeah. That's pretty good. You're in the wrong business.
I know. I should be Merman in real life
You should be in
and approach people in bars.
So she was.
Oh, I lost a gurgle.
So she's got
They're
90,
like, hey, sailor.
93 credits. She was in Anne of Green Gables, obviously. Murphy Brown.
Ah.
I used
was
to really
in-
like that show,
Me
but I was like
too.
watching it when I was like 10.
Oh,
Yeah,
get
was
this.
come out?
This
Yeah.
is interesting as shit. She was in The Exorcist 3.
Yes.
Uncredited.
Angel picked up on that one. Or
Oh, wow.
Well,
she read about it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The Exorcist.
Yeah, but do you know what she played uncredited?
What?
The voice of Satan.
Oh,
Oh,
shit.
that's probably why I didn't recognize her.
I mean, she does have that smoker's voice. So
Yeah.
that kind of works out. No offense, but she's definitely a smoker.
Yeah, I'm very fascinated by her as an actress. I'd like to look her up more stuff and see because
while we were watching, Angel was like looking her up, and she was like reading out all these different things she was in. I was like, oh shit, okay.
I can see her being in a lot of like frontier shit, like because she's just
She was in a movie with John Wayne.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
There you go.
I forget the name of
Oh,
it.
she was also in Annie Hall.
Oh, okay.
All right, maybe that'll be my pick 2 weeks from now.
All right, so where are we at?
I'm sure I have the VHS still floating around somewhere.
I like when anybody else see when the detective busts through the door?
Oh, yeah, when he blows it right off the hinges. That wasn't even like those were like big metal.
I know. He Frankenstein the shit out of that.
We're getting a little ahead of ourselves, but yeah, I'm glad you brought that up.
I just had that on my notes.
Shit.
Also, look, I know we're getting ahead, but we're in the point of the film where he tracked this Kurt character. He's been trying to find him. It's his life's mission at this point to find this dude.
Oh, and I just want to cut you off real quick. And he says to Ron O'Neal, "I'm going to kill him."
Yeah.
He's basically like, "I'm not going to catch him."
I like how he's kind of beating around a little.
He is a
bush
little bit.
and then when he gets to, it, he's like, "Nah, look, I'm just going to kill this guy."
Right.
It was very interesting too because he still looked like he was still struggling with that idea. He's like,
It's just because he killed those kids, and he's just like, he has to go.
But I like it. But I like his excuse too. He's like, "Yeah, it's just something about that guy. It just gets under my skin." I'm like, "Yeah, I get it."
yeah.
I don't know.
But at the same time, this movie does give you like a little. It does a good job of giving you a little bit of sympathy for him.
But here's my question, though. If you are so dead set on killing this person because of the horrific acts that they've done, are you really only going to just bring one dart?
No, I think he had a series of throwing needles,
Yeah.
like well balanced throwing needals. That was weird. It's like,
Yeah, like what's why is that his weapon of choice?
But then once
because he wanted to make it look like an accident, like he fell on a hypodermic needle. I don't know.
some
Yeah,
old lady
lawn
got him with
dart.
a sewing needle.
Yeah, that was a violent game of lawn darts.
Yeah, it was interesting.
Hey, lawn darts ain't no joke, man.
Yeah, Ask Rob's sister.
Oh yeah, she almost got
story,
killed by
right?
one.
Robin
It got
was
tangled in
killed,
her
right?
hair.
I got one that hit me in the head when I was a kid.
Well, that makes total sense.
It didn't penetrate, but it hit me. Yeah, it came down. And,
Point first.
yeah, it hit me.
Oh.
But it wasn't like it wasn't like razor sharp. You know, they're like dulled a little bit. Yeah.
Was there sparks?
Didn't they like off my metal plate?
Yeah.
Lick my plate, you dog dick.
Yeah.
What is that?
That's
Texas Chainsaw
Chainsaw
Massacre
2.
2.
Oh yeah.
Bill Moseley. Chop top.
Yeah.
Lick my plate, you dog dick.
How far off topic are we? Because I remember
Pretty far.
Okay.
But I mean, we're
talking
in
about
the
lawn darts.
Yeah, we're talking
Oh.
about lawn darts. I mean, come on, keep up.
I was gonna say something.
It hurt like hell, but didn't do any permanent damage.
Oh.
Well, maybe it did.
No, it did. I
it
want to get
definitely
back at I want to talk about not to take a serious note. I definitely like the fact that, and I think this was overlooked. Well, not overlooked. As someone just sitting down watching a movie, I see how the middle of this movie drags. I get it. Like
Yeah.
I will not fault people, but I really like this character. It's like it makes you question a lot of things. It's like he's fucked up. The dude's crazy, but like he's pitiable, and it's like what at one point he was like. normal. And what happened in this guy's life to make him so twisted?
Yeah, like what happened to him?
And what's the point of no return? Like where do you go?
Well, probably after he killed 2 children.
But that's what I'm thinking. It's like at one point you're like the guy just wants a friend, and like they're putting him through treatment and stuff.
Yeah.
And like and what happened to this guy's jaw? And like you're like where do you draw the line at, like, now you're rehabilitating this person and now they're a normal part of society, and now they just want a friend to, like, yeah, this guy did also rip apart 2 children with his bare hands and bathe in their blood. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
and then tormented the babysitter.
Yeah.
It's like, it's so
It's just an interesting,
wrong.
it's just interesting because it made me feel sorry for this guy, but at the same time, it's like...
It humanizes him because, I mean, as horrible as some people can be, they're still human.
Yeah. But he's fucked up.
But it's
what are you
like,
gonna do with him?
What caused it? Like, I'm fascinated by that.
Yeah.
Like, all, true crime and serial killers and stuff. And as I like that we're still trying to figure out what makes them tick. We don't know.
Yeah.
We still don't know.
Then also, where do you draw the line between quote unquote fixing someone?
Yeah.
Because like...
Or just throwing them in a hole somewhere forever.
Yeah, because I think we can all, and listeners can agree, that like ripping 2 children apart with your bare
pretty
hands,
goddamn awful.
like, that's pretty awful. But where do you draw a line? It's like, oh, we're rehabilitating. Because I was thinking that even like when they have the conversion therapy and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, where do you draw the line? If that's how someone is, that's how they are, and
Yeah, I don't know. It's that's tough.
Yeah.
I feel fortunate that I don't have to make those kind of decisions because I feel for the people who do.
Yeah.
Who see the horrific, worst stuff.
Yeah.
See the worst of
worst.
humanity.
Yeah.
There's a big gray area, and in either side that you're on, it's a tough call.
And any one of us in this room could be a serial killer.
That's true.
I mean, I'm leaning heavily in one particular direction, but...
Ooh, do tell.
Who could it be? Who? Which one?
You know.
Who do you think?
It's you, isn't it?
No. It's clearly
I know who it is.
Yeah.
We all know.
They say 1 out of 3 MacGuffins is a serial killer.
That's true. So, a rotary phone.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
I remember them.
Rotary phones, busy signals. I want to talk about things that...
Don't exist anymore?
So it would be really hard to tell this particular story.
It's funny you should say that. I got a busy signal today.
Did you?
I called. Yeah, we have plans to go to a campground, and it was a mess. The whole thing's a mess. But
is it
when I had to call to try and confirm,
Camp Crystal Lake?
I'm not trying to give away my locations because I don't want our millions of fans stalking where I'm at. But I had to call back because there's some confusion with my reservation, and because like we're trying to find things to do that are still like you can still be away from people. But it was a mess. And then I had to call, and they're like, oh, call this number. And then I just got a busy signal like 2 or 3 times in a row. Yeah.
That's interesting. I'm guessing they still have a landline maybe, and it was off the hook or tied up?
No, I don't think it was a landline because everyone in the office is working remote.
Oh.
So it has to be some kind of PBX system or something like that, routing the calls to the...
Yeah.
Because she called me back when she's working from home, and when she called me back, this is boring as shit.
No,
when she called me back from the number.
Oh, okay. So here's what I want to talk about, because there's 2 things. The whole time that I was watching this movie, I was looking at the motivation and the drive of the detectives and the police and everybody and their strategies for finding this escaped man and the way they went about trying to track him down, and how they used, locals to try to hone in on his location and figure out all about him. And then it led me to the idea that there are 2 things that would have very easily shut this investigation down.
I bet I can guess what they are.
What are they?
1, eggs. 2,
no.
Electricity.
No. Not at all. No, the 2 things, in fact, are caller ID.
Yes.
Yeah.
And star 69 for anyone.
Sarah mentioned about star 69.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if the movie would have been 4 minutes long, if after that first call she just star 69 and the phones in the house rang,
Oh, that would be, but that might even be a whole nother movie.
Yeah.
Where then it's like, oh shit, and then you hear it.
Well,
but then you try and get out, and she still gets jammed up by the door, and he comes running down.
They
the
said it
steps.
was like an old line that they never had disconnected.
Yeah.
Or something. Yeah.
But yeah, so she would have heard the phone ringing upstairs.
Yeah.
He would have been like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But that would have been pretty.
Star
freaky.
69.
Oh,
Wonder why what made them pick Star 69?
I don't know. It's just available.
Or
Probably.
maybe whoever picked it was a prevert.
Maybe. But here's the other thing that this led me to believe that we were all born in the, let's say, pre-90s. I'm going to stick with that.
Mm-hmm.
And a big thing of our youth growing up, correct me if I am wrong, is prank phone calls.
Oh, yeah.
Which is something that is non-existent these days. Guys built careers. The Jerky Boys built careers off of
Crank Yankers.
Crank Yankers.
Which I used to love that.
That was a little later, but it was still.
Yeah. So careers were built on that concept.
Yeah.
That is something that can't really exist today because if a number I don't recognize rings on my cell phone, I'm like, well, I'm not answering that.
Exactly.
If it's important, they'll leave a voice.
Even if it's a number that I do recognize, I don't answer it.
Yeah,
so it doesn't
that's
matter.
very true. That's very true. But this movie made me realize how much the technology and just the day-to-day, even phone technology has changed in even 15, 20 years.
Sure.
Has been crazy. And
Drastic
it's a damn
changes.
shame that you can't make a prank phone call.
I know, it's awful.
Yeah.
Which is really here's the most fucked up part about that is you can't. But I get it. Probably, I have more spam phone calls now to this date than I ever have in my entire life.
Me too.
But yet I can't pull off a perfectly good prank phone call. Prince Albert in a can.
Yeah.
Do you have it? No, it's gone. Like kids
refrigerator
today will
running?
never know. Yeah, is your refrigerator running? No.
Yeah.
No one knows.
Yeah, what's the other one the Simpsons would always do?
I'm looking for Amanda hug and kiss.
Oh, yeah, that's right. There it is.
I'm looking for a Seymour Butts.
Yeah, Seymour Butts. That's the big one, yeah. Yeah, it is true. And that was our backup plan. If this podcast thing didn't work out, we were going to be prank callers.
Yeah, but it's just,
So?
we missed the boat on that
Podcast it is.
Yeah, and we just ruin everyone's day all at once.
I know.
Like a catching a big net.
So this film, I do have in my notes here, this film makes me feel dread.
Yeah.
It really did a good job
Yeah,
at that.
I
Yeah.
agree. Yeah, that's a
I
good
totally
point.
agree with that.
And I
Absolutely, yeah.
I found it really intriguing at the end, too. So what do you think? Let's talk about the ending now. So,
Spoiler alert.
yeah, spoilers ahead.
Obviously.
So the Kurt character comes back 7 years later. For a little while, chases after this, what's the character? The
Jill.
Tracy.
Tracy character for a while
before
from
that,
the bar.
okay.
And then ultimately in the beginning of the third act, he finally starts chasing after the Jill character. Now
The babysitter from the original
from the first
segment.
story. So now she has children, a house of her own. And did
And a husband.
anybody else pick up on the fact that in a very short amount of time, that restaurant scene with Jill and her husband, I felt they were portrayed as very uppity, snarky, snobby kind of.
Jill and her husband?
Yes.
They were, I think what happened was...
Yuppies.
Yup. Well, I don't.
So I think what happened was he took her to the restaurant because he wanted to show this big promotion that he had. And what better way to do it in grand fashion than go to some expensive restaurant that you don't typically go to?
Sure, it was a celebratory
Or a big
occasion.
because we all have like places we don't go to all the time, but every once in a while.
Yeah, like anywhere.
Here's what
Yeah.
Here's what I would
In my
say
case,
though.
Anymore, it's nowhere. Yeah.
This
Well,
is
no, even during normal times, I don't
I
go
know,
anywhere.
you don't go anywhere. That's the only reason I sit in a room with you.
This
Thanks,
is what,
buddy.
what I would say though. Watch that scene back if you get a chance, because the way they treat the waiter and the way they
I hate that.
Yeah.
When people snap at waiters, yeah.
and
Yes.
I was like, okay, I feel like they're trying to tell me that they are very snooty.
Okay.
Maybe I'm wrong, but that was what I got out of that scene.
They are at a
When the
different social
when the
level.
plates were put in front of them, no thank you, no nothing. I know that sounds so stupid, but
It doesn't, no.
I thought it was done intentionally to convey to me
Maybe.
that they were now like she's no longer like the innocent babysitter. Now she's like
Upper crust.
upper crust. Is that what they
because
said?
Yeah, they say that.
the original couple, Dr. Mandrakis or whatever his name, I can't remember.
Yeah.
Mandrakis.
They were well-to-do. So maybe that's a good point. I never even picked that up. Yeah.
So I then battled with, okay, well, how am I supposed to feel about this then? Am I supposed to rejoice that now she's dealing with the horror of this? Like, I was a little confused why they were trying, what I felt they were trying to convey that to me as them being uppity.
And she was
yuppies.
in the paper for something too.
That's how he found her. Or that's how he got reconnected with her.
Yeah.
And for younger listeners and stuff, a newspaper was a way, it's kind of like the internet before the internet. It's the way we used to get, like, you know, topics that were happening and stuff like that. So.
That reminds me of something that I found very funny recently. I watched the movie Hackers.
Oh, God.
And the bad guy, when he's working with the FBI or whatever they are, and the agent hands him a file folder, and he's like, hard copy.
Oh, yeah.
It's so silly.
Since we're taking a side note about Hackers, I gotta be honest, I never watched Hackers until a couple years ago.
Okay.
It was my first time seeing it.
It's so cheesy.
And at the very beginning, when the kid's on trial, he's like, "You're on trial for hacking 2,000 computers." And it's like supposed to be a big deal, like he like hacked the world. I almost felt, I almost rolled out. I'm like,
he made the stock market go down by like 13 points or something.
Yeah, he disrupted all of like,
As, like,
humanity because
an
he hacked
11-year-old
2,000
kid.
computers. Yeah, I work in IT, and I probably ruin 2,000 computers a month just not know what I'm doing. Just kidding.
I think
kidding. People I work with.
I think the 80s and earlier 90s perception of what the internet was going to be is very quaint.
Yeah, I don't think they expected the rapid acceleration of technology. I think even like in Johnny Mnemonic,
like,
there was
Johnny Mnemonic is another example.
256,000 kilobytes.
So wait, when did Hackers come out?
90. It was 95.
So they must have been like, all right, look, we don't want to, like, you know, put ourselves behind the eight ball here. We got to think ahead. So let's think about where are we going to be in 2005, 2015, 2,000 computers. You got to think big, fellas.
Right. And that's the same.
Do you
there's
think that's too much?
Should we pull it back? All right. So the restaurant scene. Talking about dread. That moment in the restaurant. The moment in the restaurant where the phone rings, she goes to take the call, and she just wails.
She loses it,
I seriously got chills from that.
Yes.
I literally got chills when we watched
Super
that.
effective.
Yeah, extremely. So that's why when we were reading the reviews earlier about how, like, you know, nothing could top that first act, it's like, dude, did you watch the third act? Because the end of that, the whole setup, the arc that they follow, it was horrifying. Yeah. And again, as someone, like, anyone that has had a child, your life perspective changes. The way you see things change. Everything is a little different. Watching a movie like this is really difficult when you can put your own child in that bedroom and think about the horror of getting that phone call. They
laid it on super
They
thick,
did.
Too.
They didn't even try to hold back.
Yeah. They were like, "I love you, mommy." And
I know, dude.
God,
that was the whole thing.
But that's real. I mean, that's...
I was like, if this dude eats these kids, I'm gonna be like, I can't. I'll never watch another movie as long as I live.
That just reminded me of Mike Tyson when he said that. I'll eat your children.
Did he really?
Yes, he did.
Oh my god.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
I mean, talking about like an opponent or whatever. He's saying.
But still, that's Mike Tyson gets cooler and cooler every story I hear.
So anyone at this point, if you're still hanging around with us, I'm sure you've either watched the movie or you've seen it before. The ending. There is one thing about the very end that I want your opinions on. 2 questions. Why didn't the detective take the kill shot? He held the gun to his head for a moment and then...
Oh, I think he realized he was already dead.
Okay. And then second, led to the shot of the exterior of the house with Kurt's face kind of over it. And I
love that shot.
I took that as insinuating that he'll forever haunt that home. Like, even though he's dead, he's always going to be here.
That is very interesting because me and Sarah watched him like, what the fuck? Why would you do that? Mm-hmm. But like hearing your guys think that's a very good. I didn't think about that. Yeah, that he is forever tainted. Like especially that's his second
encounter with him. Yeah, and it was her own children this time that were in peril.
Yeah. we got through most of the film, so I want to, in a moment here, we're going to rate the film on our MacGuffin scale. That would be, well, first off, before we do that, any final thoughts? Anything that you guys got from this film that we haven't discussed yet? Anything you think noteworthy that should be brought up?
Everything of my notes that I made a note of. We literally talked about.
Okay.
Everything.
All right. Justin?
I think everything I wanted to discuss has been discussed. Oh, there's one little thing here I wrote is the difference between legally insane versus clinically insane or something, because they were saying there was a whole discussion about what's legal, because people are like, oh, how can you say he was, of course he's insane, he killed these people, but that's a whole nother discussion. But other than that, yeah, we pretty much touched on everything. Mike kind of touched on this a little bit, but this is probably in my top 3 Brian Dennehy movies.
It was a good one.
It's like this, Rambo, and FX. I think. Or
I don't know. Tommy Boy might be in that mix too.
Yeah, true. This bumped Tommy Boy out of the third spot.
Yeah.
Or Fletch might be up there too.
Oh yeah.
Anyway,
God.
madness.
Let's rate this flick. You ready?
Yes.
Yep.
Let's rate this flick. So, I will go first since this was my selection. Like I said, I had never seen it all the way through. I felt like I had seen that intro before because I think I saw it so frequently in pop culture that when I was actually watching it, I was like, I feel like I
saw
watched this before.
homages, you saw lampoons, you seen the whole thing. Yeah.
But as I saw the film and I saw it unfold and I saw the second and the third act, and like we had discussed, even that third act, the second act may have been a little slow going at times, but when it hit that third act and the restaurant scene and the telephone call there and the dread and the horror, it came full circle for me. It felt complete. And not to mention the fact that I thought all the performances in this film were really good.
Yes.
A little other than, what's her name? Mrs. Menakis. What was the
wife? The
wife.
Yeah,
Mrs. Mandrakis.
Mandrakis.
Yeah.
Her performance was pretty dreadful in the 3 lines that she had.
Oh, but I will say this. Compared to the short, man, the Mrs. Mandrakis in the short was a real battle axe, man. Holy shit, I felt bad for Dr. Mandrakis. I was like, which was actually pretty good because he was very kind and gentle and stuff, and she was like, put this shit on my neck and let's get the fuck out of here so I can watch this film when we come home and I take a shit and go to bed. She was like a real, throw mama from the train. You know what I mean? Yeah. She was like... I feel bad because that woman's great from Throw Mama from Jane, but she was miserable, dude.
Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, other than that performance, even which was such a small role, it was a very small role. But other than that, because at first when I first saw that scene, and I saw Mrs. Mandrakis, and I saw her. I don't know if it was overacting or underacting. I'm not sure what kind of acting, but it wasn't acting. It was off acting. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, God, it's going to be like this. But she was the only...
Yeah, everybody else is really good.
Only speed bump. Everybody else was on point. Yeah. But anyway, the dread I felt from this, the horror I felt from it, the music was great, the acting was great. It was everything I hoped it would have been. And I highly recommend it, and I give it an 8.3.
Well, damn.
Wow. Dude, 8.3, really? Yeah. I'm surprised.
Yeah.
Wow, cool.
JJ, you want to go next?
No.
We'll do it anyway.
Okay. So I have not seen this before, and, it's a little hard to say, because I think I liked, this is a genre that I'm very, fairly well-versed in. Mm-hmm. So I was actually surprised that none of us had seen it.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And we all know the lore.
Despite me thinking I had seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt the same thing.
So I was happy to watch it. Things I liked about it, I'm in the minority as far as liking the second act. I really enjoyed that, as well as the first act. Even though it did feel, going back to a movie we did earlier, Living in Oblivion. Same thing where it started as a short, and as you're watching it, you're like, oh, this feels like it was a short that was extended. It's the same thing. Which... that's fine because I really like that movie too. With those things being said, right now I'll give it a 7.2.
All right. I think that's the first time you ever rated something lower than me.
I think so.
So,
Mike? Oh, no, actually, I'm wrong. Living in Oblivion, you rated lower than me.
oh,
But anyway, Mike, continue.
so I did enjoy this movie. I was surprised again because I think we've kind of beat this dead horse a little bit that we all thought we were so familiar with that first act. We all thought we had seen it before. And Justin, you pointed out that you're in the minority on that second half, or the second
act,
the middle act.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm in the same minority, Pat, and you also feel like you're in that minority on that. So we're all in the minority, but we're in the majority in this room on that fact.
That's true.
Look at that.
But I will say, I enjoyed the first and third acts more than the second act.
Absolutely.
Although I do think the second act was essential in laying the foundation for the third act.
I don't think it deserves the shit like some of those reviews gave it.
It's definitely awkward. But I kind of like stuff that steps outside the cookie cutter type.
It kind of
is still awkward, yeah.
Like when we were watching it, Angel after the first act, she was like, "Well,
Now
I mean,
what?
they already caught him, so where's this movie going?"
Now what?
Yeah.
But
Because I think we all thought that was the movie.
Yeah. Which, let's be honest. Well, first off, did you see the remake?
I think I did.
Because I'd be curious to know how the remake handled that. Because you can't stretch that out for an hour
I
and a
think
half.
they did. I think that is what the whole movie is. I think it's
But
the
I'd
girl
be
in the
curious
house.
how they modified it. Because, again, they don't have Star 69, caller ID, rotary phones. They had to have used cell phones.
I think it was more of like a cat and mouse type of thing.
Yeah. So it couldn't have been the same.
I'm pretty sure from what I remember, I think I saw that.
I'd be intrigued. If anyone out there listening has watched, apparently none of us in this room have watched the remake of When a Stranger Calls. So if you have seen it, shoot us a quick synopsis. I'd love to know how it was different and how they approached modern technology to achieve this same concept.
It's funny you should mention that because I literally watched... Why did I say literally? That was pointless.
I mean, but did you do it figuratively?
Was it literally pointless?
No. Because I watched a YouTube video of a girl who gave a synopsis. She watched this one and then watched the remake back to back and then compared the two.
Oh, with the When a Stranger Calls?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was really cool. And I'm sorry that I do not remember her name. Hopefully we could put this in the liner notes. But it was pretty cool. It's because I didn't watch the remake.
So did you get any information? Can you answer any of my questions?
No. So, but she probably could. But it was very,
we don't know her name.
it was like Jacqueline
Bissett.
Daisy something. I don't remember.
Wow.
Oh, my God.
No, I don't know. But
Jacqueline Daisy.
We'll
Daisy Jacqueline.
We'll look it up and put it in the notes. But yeah, she gave a really good comparison of the two, and I felt like it was very non-subjective. Like it wasn't she was trying to like say one. It's just like her raw.
We could probably go on YouTube and look up.
Yeah, I will.
The verses.
Yeah.
And that'll probably be one of the ones that comes up.
But
Yeah.
Okay, so Mike.
Yes.
Did you rate?
I
this?
did not rate it yet.
Okay. Continue. The floor is yours.
So, with all my points being said that we already discussed, I'll give it a solid 6.8. I did like it, but I think it had flaws. I also think, although for the time, I guess it could have gone further. Mm. I think if it was made today, it definitely... I don't know.
Well, it was made today.
Today was 15 years ago, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
I would have liked to see it go a little further.
And in what capacity?
Well, kind of like you never see
the kids.
Not so much
You saw glimpses. They show flashes of the bloody room.
Did they?
Yeah. Do you remember that, Justin?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I would have liked to see an image of him standing there covered in the blood.
That
I think
happened.
they showed that.
I missed that.
Would you nod off?
You're taking a
halfway
poop
through?
break.
I missed that totally then.
I don't remember shit, but I definitely remember that.
There was a flashback scene
Yeah.
that it showed flashes of inside the bedroom, and you could see the bloody
shit.
bed.
Which I feel like set the pace for this scene here, where because you see the aftermath.
this scene being she's in the restaunt now in the third act.
Look at her eyes,
Yeah.
dude. She's going full fucking mental right there.
Can we talk about that hairdo on the hubby there?
That was popular back then.
It was popular, but if I had hair
know
I
what?
would totally rock that.
You know who I thought that actor
The other guy
was?
has it too.
Yeah, everyone's got it. It's great. You know who I thought that was for a minute? I thought it was, what's his name, Jerry or whatever from Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh, it does look
Is
like
that him?
Yeah.
And I looked up, it's not.
It does look like him.
That guy did a lot of TV spots. I don't remember his name.
Dude,
Well-
but look at her acting in this scene, though, where she's just wailing. It's just awful. Any parent would, like, be in hell in that moment.
It's
And
just so
she
weird seeing her
sold
do a
it.
dramatic role.
She sold it so well.
So anyway, okay, well, I'm an asshole for missing that stuff.
No, you're not.
You missed that. You missed that.
I must have blinked and missed it. Is it like real quick? Is it like the flashes in From Dusk Till Dawn?
Nah.
No, it's not blink
It's
quick.
flashes, but it's a lot of flashes enough where...
Yeah.
How did I miss all that? I don't understand. 'Cause
Anyway.
I was watching the movie. But anyway,
So
6.8.
here's what we got then. So between the three of us, we have an average score of 7.43, which if you look at, again, it brings me back to the reviews that the Rotten Tomatoes, the audience score, 49%, and then the tomato meter, 41%.
Yeah.
That seems so low to
It
me.
does.
Like,
Especially...
look, real quick though, sometimes I tend to enjoy movies that maybe other people don't, but I don't see this as one of those movies. I see this as like, this is a good movie.
It is a good movie. It's
good, yeah.
Especially
It's
for when
well
it was
made.
made.
Yeah, it's good. I was thinking about it too. Is like I think sometimes it's the atmosphere, and the current climate that you're in. Like I don't know. It's just something about like watching. This now. I wonder if I watched this 10 years ago, if I would have the same opinion about it.
I'm just
you know?
surprised at 41 and 49% on the tomato meter.
That does seem very low, especially for a movie that we've all heard.
Look over here on the left-hand side. Oh, I'm sorry, not to cut this off. People are there's like you can see crew on the left-hand
Oh,
side
yeah.
of this shot.
Oh shit!
There's
You
like
know,
the,
can
the
I say
lighting
something?
department.
I want to say something. I saw.
they miss
This,
that?
this is when the cops at the end roll up into the.
Yeah,
into
you
the-
can see the crew on the left. You could see that earlier. A guy bends down, picks something up. Amanda and I thought it was Kurt outside
yeah.
the house, but it wasn't. It was the lighting guy.
Yeah, it happens multiple times towards the end, and on IMDb they didn't have it in goofs, which I was surprised because like I was watching, I'm like, who the fuck is that? And like it happened several times.
Was this like originally like in a 16 by
That's
9?
what I'm wondering. I'm wondering if
aspect ratio.
the aspect ratio changed, and,
Yeah.
and like maybe it wasn't in it. Yeah, but like
it
I
has to
clearly,
be.
yeah,
Has to be.
because it was really clear, and it's right where the lights are shining on the house. It has to be like the,
Yeah.
the lighting department or something.
It's interesting.
What was I saying?
I don't know. Just wrap it up, whatever it was.
Look, there they are again. He's sitting there pulling
yeah.
a pack of cigarettes out, getting ready to fucking light one up.
It's so funny.
Yeah, they had to. It must have been in a different aspect.
Yeah, there's
ratio.
a crew just chilling outside working on the left side of the screen during the end there where the cops pull up to the house.
Which kind of takes away a little bit from the end. The dramatic. Like, look at her. She's like, her eyes are all fucked up. He's like, I'm gonna check this out. I'm a nerd. I got abs. I like how he's like, yeah, you know, I'm a light sleeper and a good shot.
Yeah.
And then he's like knocked out in the fucking closet.
I know.
Full of shit.
I know.
Now he's a heavy sleeper because he's unconscious.
Oh, God. That did crack me up. I'm like, come on, dude. You had one freaking job.
He's just trying to be a manly man, but he's not a manly man.
He got effed
Then
up.
again, I'd be knocked out in the fucking closet too. So whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you would.
Well, that's like, I think, what was it?
Oh, can somebody, real quick, can somebody explain this scene? This is where it cuts to the cops. They're sitting there playing cards, and you hear a cop in the background talking to another cop about Kurt escaping.
Yeah.
What is happening here? Is he, because he already knows this information, right? So he's hearing other cops talk about it, and he's thinking he should chime in, or is he gathering new information?
I think he's gathering new information. I think he knows a specific amount of information he got from the one character, and then man, that was loud. And then
Yeah,
he got some information, so now he's getting other information. So he's pulling the two things together, and now a lot of things are swirling his head, and he's like, I need to get involved.
Okay.
No.
Yeah. So he's ultimately the hero of this. Is that what they're insinuating? That he's the one that, like, does he send the cops over to the house or whatever?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway. All right, so...
Oh, I do remember one thing I wanted to mention that we didn't talk about.
What's that?
There's a scene at the very going back to Act 1. At the end of Act 1 when she goes to open the door and she can't.
Yeah.
And opens the door and it's
Brian Dennehy.
Brian Dennehy there. I'm sorry, Brian Cox is standing there, and
it's like a weird freeze frame.
yeah,
and
it's a weird
zoomed.
freeze frame.
It's
like
weird.
It's awkward and it's weird, and I'm like, oh well, I'll let it go. And I was like, the more I thought about it, I really don't like it.
I don't either.
And then that was a when we watched the short, that was a carryover from that because they did it in the short too.
Exactly.
And it's like I get why they did it, but it just doesn't.
So yeah,
it's awkward.
Yeah, what
it's
I
awkward.
gathered was they were going. I get that. My impression was they were going for an effect, and that's how they achieved it on the short.
Yeah.
And then when they had a bigger budget and they were making the feature, they stuck with that same technique.
I don't know how else they would have done it though. You know what I mean? Like, how else would you have done it? How else would you have shot that to portray that same effect?
Well, so what they were trying to show, because at first I thought they were trying to sell it as that's the murderer, like freak out, like there's a guy standing there, you don't know who it is.
I think they're trying to do a transition of yes, that's that, and then transition to oh no, this is the aftermath.
Well, I could probably find other examples of them doing something similar. These days, it'd be a lot easier to, zoom in on someone, and then when you back out, you're in a new scene.
Right,
but
back behind him would change.
Yeah, back then,
or like spin the camera around or something. Yeah.
So back then, though, the technology, I'm guessing, because what was weird about it for me was it wasn't even like they zoomed in on video. It was like a still shot.
Yeah, it was a still. Yeah, it just froze.
And they zoomed in on that, which seemed awkward, and then they zoomed out on it. But I guess that's how they did it.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe they zoomed into a green screen and they just had a still shot there, and then I don't know what they did.
I'd be very curious to hear from anyone who knows anything about that era of like film styles and cameras and what the options were, because I don't particularly like that scene, and I'm curious why they did it that way and if they could have done it a different way, because we talk about all kinds of movies we watch. And like the 70s is not, and this is 79, right?
Yeah.
So it's like this isn't outside the scope of stuff that we typically like. But maybe there's something there that I don't.
No, I would love to know, or if anyone has any insight into the filmmaker's rationale for doing that. Like if there was a reason he said, "Oh, this is the technique I use," or "This is what I was going for." I would love to hear that.
And maybe it was just part of his vision, where like he just liked the way that looked, and that's fine too. I just personally, it was
weird.
I get a funny feeling because anyone who's made films knows that it's all about it's magic tricks. It's all about figuring out how am I going to fool the viewer's eye. And I feel like, especially when you make the short, and they shot it on film too. Like that's something us these days, it's hard for us to wrap our heads around. It's cheap to film today because you're shooting on video
or digital or
digital. Yeah,
digital.
Yeah, I say film, but to shoot. It's cheap today because it's all digital.
You can use your freaking iPhone.
Whereas back then, you had to buy reels of film, and I think most film reels were between like 8 and 12 minutes long. Like that's all you were getting for a reel, and they were expensive.
Film was expensive as shit.
Extremely expensive. So, for them to achieve a short film like that on a limited budget with expensive supplies, and to figure out a way to get a shot like that is, obviously they had a specific vision, and that was the way they achieved it. So I just feel like the way I took it was they already unlocked that puzzle. They weren't going to spend any more time on that puzzle when they got to the film, the feature, because they already knew how to do that. Let's just do that again. The same way we did it last time, let's do that again, so we can spend our resources in trying to figure out other things that we haven't figured out yet. That's what I got out of it. But overall, though, I get his theory of what he was going for, and I think just the only way he could figure out how to unlock that puzzle was to do it in that fashion.
Okay.
So, I don't know.
That's good.
But if anybody out there knows, please share it with us, because we'd love to know.
Well, also, kind of I like things I don't like or anything, I like to get a little more backstory and try and get, I know it sounds kind of corny, but I don't like disliking things.
Yeah.
I like to focus on things I like. So if I dislike something, I want to know.
Yeah.
Gather all the information. A little more information.
And then you may gain an appreciation for it, or at least understand it.
Yeah, or make a final decision and say, you know what, fuck that shit.
And if it's still whack, I still want to fucking then be able to talk shit on it.
Yeah,
you know.
But at least you did your due diligence.
You have an informed opinion.
True.
So, as many of you know, a MacGuffin is a plot device used to drive along a story. Well, we here at the MacGuffin Guild like to use the film itself as a MacGuffin to drive along our conversation. So that's what we're going to do now. So what I have to ask to you guys is, have there been moments where you have been in a situation that has freaked you out beyond belief, much like what Jill was in? I doubt any of you have been in babysitting situations where the phone rang and you got, that kind of situation.
Why? Because we're men?
Well, no, because I wouldn't trust you with my child.
Wow, hurts, man.
That's more it. Has nothing to do with your manliness.
Look, man, I'm good with kids as long as they're potty trained. Before that,
that's where you draw the line.
I'm not changing dirty diapers.
No.
But after that, man, I'm good with kids.
So I have a few stories, but I didn't know if you guys had any freakiness.
I'm very curious to hear yours. Can you kick us off with one? And if you have a couple?
Yeah.
Well, what kind of freaky are we talking about? Like sexual?
Well, there's one that, Mike, you were involved in.
Sexual?
No. Very non-sexual.
Oh, I want to hear about that one.
But it was freaky, and we still do not know. We still never got any kind of...
Okay. Oh, I know this story.
Yeah.
Yep.
So this is a story, Mike and I and another friend named Rob, Bristow Live Fire, check him out, makes awesome pizza. But anyway, he didn't make pizza back then. So we were... How old were we?
Tonight.
Yeah.
Somewhere in our teens.
So
Mid-teens, maybe.
Yeah, what, 14 to 16?
In that range.
Somewhere in there. And back in the day, my family used to live way out in the boondocks in Earlville, Maryland. You can look it up. It's way out there on the Chesapeake Bay. But anyway, so we're way out there. You got woods on one side. You got the bay on the other. It is a community that's kind of like a retirement community. It's either summer homes for young families or retirement homes for old folk. Mm-hmm. There's like really no in between.
And a hotbed for cult activity.
Perhaps.
Probably.
Yeah, I wasn't old enough to get into the cult scene then, but I
don't think you're ever too young.
Yeah.
No, I'm a few years older than you. I got a little bit of a taste of it. But...
So the three of us, it was a late night. I don't know. It was dark.
Oh, yeah. It was definitely after dark.
9 o'clock, maybe 9 p.m.
Somewhere in that range.
And we're playing hide and seek. Yes, I know. But we were playing hide and seek.
We were bad kids.
Yes. So
getting into shenanigans.
So Rob was it, and Mike and I were hiding, and Rob was towards the water. Okay? Mm-hmm. So the house, you have the house, then you have maybe, I don't know, 30 feet, 50 feet, I don't know.
In that range.
Of grass, and then eventually the beach, and then the water. So Rob is towards the water. Mike and I are up next to the house. There is a deck on the house. Mike and I know where each other are hiding. I think I was on the deck and you were under the deck, or vice versa. I can't remember. But in any case,
it was vice versa,
okay.
But it doesn't matter.
Yeah, so one
of us was above the other.
Yes, and we knew where each other were.
Yeah,
so we were like,
we were aware.
I'm going to hide here. He'll never find me here. And you're like, I'm going to hide here. He won't find me here. So, just doing what you do in hide and seek. So Rob counts. He then says, all right, here, ready or not, here I come. So he starts walking towards us.
We can both see him.
We see where he is. We can see him.
From where we are, we can both see him.
And I think you were on the deck. I
think so.
So I know Mike is above me. He knows I'm below him. And we both are looking in the direction of Rob. We can see Rob. Rob is to our right. Mm-hmm. Our backs are against the house. Mm-hmm. He is to our right. We are looking at him. Rob is walking in our direction, and he's saying the things that you would say during hide and seek, like, where are you guys? Oh, come on out. Where are you? As if we're going to respond. So he continues. He's, as he's getting a little closer, he's like, oh, where are you guys? Then finally, from our left, actually more in front of us. Mm-hmm. So if our backs are to the house, Rob is to our right. In front of us, we hear, I'm right here.
God, I got fucking chills. Now.
Just like that. Was it not just like that, Mike?
Like 25 years later, still getting chills.
Yep.
Yep.
It was a voice that sounded exactly like that. It was loud enough to hear, but it was a whisper. Mm-hmm. And I knew it wasn't Mike because he was above me. We knew it wasn't Rob because he was to our right. This voice came from in front of us. Mm-hmm. To this day, We have no idea.
None of us.
None of us have any idea. Now, we packed up immediately and went inside and locked the doors.
Yeah, somebody was like, time out.
Yeah, I said,
Was that
time out. I just
you?
shut it down.
Yeah.
Oh, because I didn't know. Like, I knew that neighborhood well enough. The house that was next to me was a retired couple. They weren't even home. Like, they were on vacation to, like, their Florida home or something. Like, they weren't there. The house was empty. And there was only one other kid in the neighborhood.
Say there's not kids, really.
No, there wasn't. There was only one other kid in the neighborhood who I played with, and I know him. If he was the one that did that, he would have knocked on the door 5 minutes later and be like, "Oh, I really got you guys. That was great." The fact that he didn't do that tells me it wasn't him.
Yeah.
I don't know who it was. To this day, I'm right.
That's so eerie.
Fuck that.
We don't know. Me, Mike, and Rob have no idea.
I don't think I can drive home tonight.
We don't know who that was. So that was an eerie situation. Another eerie situation I had is one day on this same property, it was a huge, massive lightning storm. And me, my mom...
Was it huge or massive?
It was hugely massive.
There you go.
Yeah. So me, my mom, and my sister were in the house, and my dad... We had a boat at the time. There was a boat like floating in the water, and we had stuff on the beach. I don't know, umbrellas or whatever. It was a really nice property. I don't even know how we had that property back then.
I love that house.
Yeah, it was awesome. So anyway, huge storm. My dad decides he needs to go out and tend to some things because, you know, he probably didn't do his due diligence and get the umbrellas in and whatever he had to do before a storm hit. So now he's going out there. I forget specifically what he went out for, but it was probably just simple things, making sure the boat's hooked up right or the umbrellas aren't blowing into the neighbor's yard, whatever.
He was securing the perimeter.
Yeah. So he goes out towards the beach. We're in the house. He's down there for a hot minute doing his thing. Massive lightning storm. Huge, you know, like just that, like almost like a light show, like where it's just so much lightning popping off. It's just all over the place. My dad finally, after he finishes what he has to do, now the thunder's crashing. It's just horrible. And me and my sister, we're young. We're like, I don't even know. In fact, I think it may have been before we even lived down there. So I think I was like 8. She was 10. We were real young.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
And it may have been the cottage before we had the bigger house there. So we're in the house. My dad's out tending to whatever he's doing. And as he starts to approach the house again, he's, I don't even know how to describe this. You have on the top of your feet, okay? The top of his feet were dragging on the grass as he was walking towards us. He looked like a monster. You know the scene from RoboCop when the guy gets hit with the vat of acid
Emil.
and melts?
Yeah.
And he's like, "Help me."
Yeah.
And he's just dragging his body along. That's how my dad was walking back towards the house.
I've never heard this story.
Dragging his feet in the grass. So me and my sister and my mom see this. My sister and I start screaming because we think he got struck by lightning and he's dying in the backyard as he's dragging his feet towards us. And sheer terror. Like, we don't know what's happening. So finally he gets back to the house, and I swear to God, I think he's going to be like burnt. He's going to look like Freddy Krueger. I don't know what to expect. And he's like, "What the hell's going on in here?" And we're crying and sobbing at this time. And my mom is like, what is going on? Why are you walking like that? And he's like, "Oh, I was just wiping the sand off the top of my feet." But the next day, our elderly neighbor on the other side came over. She always made cookies and stuff for us. She was a sweetheart. She came over the next day and she was like, "I brought you these cookies. I learned last night that your family doesn't like lightning." She heard us screaming and sobbing, thinking it was the storm.
Right.
City kids.
So anyway,
right.
That was a horrifying experience. I thought he was getting melted.
I've
by
never
lightning.
heard that story.
Yeah. So anyone else have any?
I have one story. I never really told this story before. I was probably somewhere between 15 and 17, I'd say.
So 16.
Probably maybe 16. I might have been 15 and a half.
Average it out.
Yeah. Somewhere around there. And I lived not far from where you were living. I live in Hacks Point, which was also another beach community. And we get bored there. There wasn't a whole lot to do. So sometimes we go for rides, go to other neighboring towns and stuff and, see what was going on there. And there's never anything going on. But one time, I rode out and I was like walking around this neighborhood one time, and I walked around. There was like a wooded area. I kind of walked through the wooded area, and then you kind of go through the wooded area and come back around to the other half of the town I'm walking through. And just then, as I'm walking through, I see a bunch of nerds playing hide and seek.
You son of a bitch.
So I hide in the bushes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, they're like, where are you at? And I'm like, I'm right here. And I see two of them totally shit their pants. It was probably one of the greatest moments of my life. No, I'm just kidding. I don't really have a proper story here.
Oh, God. The only other story I have that worth sharing was the time I thought I was going to get murdered by the Schwan Man.
What the fuck's the Schwan Man?
Oh, the guy that would deliver the meats? Yeah. I remember the Schwan Man.
I thought it was like Mothman.
No, he drove around this like white freezer truck.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I just really thought like he meant like the swan creature man. Like the chapstick.
Yeah.
Quack, quack.
Frozen meats.
Oh no, it's the Schwan Man.
Oh yeah, my family loved the Schwan Man. They're like, you get frozen meat from them. Like, you can get that from the grocery store. What the fuck's the big deal?
Yeah, but the grocery store doesn't drive to your house.
Well, it does today.
Oh yeah,
didn't back then. This was Uber Eats before or DoorDash or whatever they got. Yeah,
when you had to write a letter to someone.
I'm going to start a company called Door Bash. I'm just going to come to your house and bash your door down, and then leave. And you're gonna pay me for it.
Whatever you do not say Schwan Man 3 times into the mirror.
No,
it will not end well.
All right, so what is this about the Schwan?
Endless surprise.
Oh yeah. So it was okay. So during that period of time where my family lived way out in the boondocks, and my sister and I were young, anywhere between 11 and, I don't know, whenever you're old enough to start really staying home on your own. I mean, I guess you could at 11, but
7.
But back then, or where we were, way back in the middle of nowhere, it would take an ambulance an hour to get to us because we were so far back there. So what my parents did during summers, where there was entire days where we'd be home by ourselves, there was a friend of my sister's that lived in a more civilized town nearby. So we would spend entire summer days at her place. And she had a tendency of telling like very spooky stories. Her house was not on the water, but it was deep in the woods. And they, for whatever reason, they were business owners, so they had a lot of, equipment, and they owned like a construction company, so there was like equipment back there and tools, so they were probably trying to protect their assets, but they had alarms set up if anyone pulled into their driveway, which was like, a mile long, and they had an alarm system in the house, and this person would tell us stories about like demonic situations that took place
in the rapture.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
In the home. So in this time that we're staying in this house on these long summer days where it's just 3 kids, me, my sister, and this person, I'm like fucking terrified because I'm thinking of like demon people and crazy shit. So here's what happened. So we're in the house, and the alarm goes off. Like, boo, woo, woo. It's like, oh, my God, somebody's approaching. So we then do what we're told to do. We get in lockdown. They set the alarm in the home because someone's coming. And I'm horrified because I don't know what I'm in for. And we're hiding, literally hiding in bedrooms. Like, I don't know what's happening. I don't know who's coming. I don't know what they're going to do to me. I'm hiding in this home now. And now it's in the middle of the day, keep in mind. It's like, it's a summer day, but we're in the woods. So it feels like we're secluded and out in the middle of nowhere. So finally, in this one particular case, when I'm just petrified, and I'm only probably in the 11 range somewhere. Well, 11 to 14, somewhere in that range. And I'm waiting for impending doom.
Yeah.
And finally, around the bend comes the Schwan Man with his frozen meats, just to make a delivery.
Yeah.
It left a mark on me because I've never been on lockdown before.
Yeah.
I never felt that we had to set the alarm and hide under a bed for an attack And that's exactly what happened in that case. But anyway, anyone else have any stories? If not, we're gonna wrap this this MacGuffin up. We good? Everybody good? No final thoughts?
I got a phone call from the Census Bureau one time.
Oh my God, they're hounding the shit out of me.
Yeah. It was awful. They're strangers. I don't know. I got nothing. I really don't. I was thinking about it. I don't really have any stories.
No. That's okay. Well, that's good. I mean, it's not a, I wouldn't.
Until you walk out of here later tonight.
Yeah.
So, everybody good then? No final thoughts on the film?
No. I think we did a good job covering everything.
I think we can shut it down. All right.
What?
Oh,
he took, like, her husband at the end of that film cut up his salad real vigorously, and it took a big bite, and it was like one leaf and ate it, and that's kind of been bothering me a little bit.
Just how vigorously.
Yeah, he was just like really excited and vigorously cutting it, and then just like it wasn't even like a full leaf of lettuce. It was like,
well, that's because he cut it all up.
Yeah, but it's like one. He's like that's no victory. That's like,
yeah,
I don't know. Maybe there was a message to that, but we're not getting.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe, just when you think you have it all, you don't have any.
You got nothing.
You got barely half a leaf.
Scrap of lettuce.
Yeah.
I was wondering if that guy was going to die or not. Which I was a little sad for him because he got that raise and he was super excited and everything.
Yeah, and then, 3 hours later, he's knocked out in the closet.
Yeah.
And his children are potentially being murdered.
Yeah, we
by
don't know.
someone's bare hands.
Yeah, it was really tense. I don't know what people are talking about. I thought.
Yeah.
But if you don't think it's tense, let us know.
Yeah, I thought it was a great movie, though. But anyway, so with that said, thank you everybody so much for coming with us on this adventure and for having fun with us and for supporting us. We really appreciate it. It means a lot to us. Continue to do so. Let us know your thoughts. If you have specific things and elements to talk about or bring to the table, things you think we missed or we got wrong, let us know.
Which we did.
Absolutely. Let us know, and we will give you your dues. We will make sure you get to use this platform as well to get those points out there, because we want to hear and we want to learn, and that's what this is all about.
Yeah.
To wrap this thing up, I am Pat Dougherty. I'm with Justin Jones and Mike Antonio, and we are the MacGuffin Guild. Thank you so much, and until next time, just hit us up on social media and stay in touch. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Discord. All right?
Give us a call. Leave us creepy messages. We love it.
Have you checked the children?
Yeah.
So, thank you guys so much.
For the next 6 months.
All right, everybody. Justin, Mike, thank you as always. All right?
Later, guys.
Pleasure.
Later. See you next week.
See ya.
I raised you better than this.
He's in a lot of dick movies.